everyone, this is Sarah, the Catholic Homemaker. Today I wanted to share with you a children's book haul that I did. It's mostly Spanish or Spanish-English bilingual books, but I wasn't even planning on buying them, but I just happened to go by a used bookstore in our area and I just wanted to check it out. So I wanted to share with you guys. Well, I wanted to welcome everybody to my channel first, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing so we can continue to grow this community. Also hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, share it, comment below what some of your favorite classic children's books are, and if you found them at a used book sale or if you bought them new. And okay, let's jump in. The first one I have here is a classic Amelia Bedelia book, Play Ball, Amelia Bedelia. It's definitely not one of my favorite Amelia Bedelia books. I think the first one, the original one, is obviously the best one, but the Spring Shower is another good one. We don't own that one. My parents own the original Amelia Bedelia, but then once you kind of venture off like some of the original books, like I think maybe when the daughter starts writing, I'm just not a big fan of those. All right, next we have Corduroy, but it's in Spanish. My mom actually has the English version, so it's kind of nice to have both. And it's not too complicated, but if your Spanish is not too advanced, if it's more beginner, this might be a little more difficult for you. So if you're looking to teach your children Spanish, I really love bilingual books, especially because if you're unsure about certain vocabulary, that can definitely help you a lot. So we have The Little Engine That Could in English and Spanish, and so some of the vocabulary is kind of obscure in The Little Engine That Could, and so I like read them side by side because I don't trust myself to translate well enough. This is Bear Says Thanks. Also dice gracias. I guess it's by Jane Chapman or Karma Wilson. I'm not sure which one's the illustrator. I thought Jane Chapman was the author, but I could be wrong. I think I see these books a lot about Bear. I don't think it's truly a classic book, but it is like one of those popular kids books. But I really can't say no, especially at a used book sale, when I see like Spanish, English, or just Spanish children's books, because I think it's a great way to teach your children a second language is using children's books. So my tip, if you don't have, if you're not fluent in Spanish or another language you're trying to teach your children, a couple things that I have done when there's some obscure vocabulary is I have penciled in, when it's not a bilingual book, the certain word that I don't know. Like I look it up in the dictionary to be sure of the meaning, and then I write the English meaning underneath it in pencil. I did that with a pretty simple children's book I had, but it was about gardening, and I didn't know that vocabulary. So, and I didn't trust myself to remember it time after time. So I think that helps you as the parent to build your vocabulary as well. Now this one is definitely a classic, Anne of Green Gables. So this we're not going to read for a little while because that's more advanced for even my oldest, but I thought it was great for us to have as part of our collection. This is a board book here, Wild Que Locura, Bath Time a la Hora del Baño, and it's English and Spanish. There's coloring all inside the book. I actually got this for free because the person in charge pointed out that it was just colored all over the book, and she said, "Do you want it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I still want it," and she just gave it to me for free. This is 10 en la cama, 10 in the bed. It's not too complicated, but you know, sentence after sentence. It's not like a whole paragraph at a time, but it's just like a sentence here. And if your Spanish is more than just basic, I think it probably would be pretty easy to understand. But you can always, like I said, look up in the dictionary if you're not sure about a word. Just pencil it in. If you don't want to pencil it in, maybe take some notes on another notepad or something. I'm pretty sure this is the Velveteen Rabbit, El Conejo de Terciopelo. I'm pretty sure because it looks exactly like it. But I just couldn't resist getting a Spanish children's book. I haven't actually read it yet, so I'll have to see. I know the story pretty well, so I could probably guess some things if I didn't know. Then there's Clifford. This is El Gran Perro Colorado. The big red dog, right? I think this is the original Clifford. And this one's pretty simple. So it wouldn't be very much to look up. Then there's, this one's a bilingual one. The Little Red Hen, La Gallinita Roja. My husband just read this to our children last night, and he's like, oh, the ending is different on this one. Because if you're familiar with the Little Red Hen, at the end, the hen says, like, who's going to eat the bread with me? And they're all like, I will. But she's like, no, I did all the work for everything. I'm going to eat it. But at the end of this one, that happens. But then the animals start, I think they start helping her. Yeah, they start actually helping her. And then it's asking, what lesson do we learn from this story? So it's kind of like changing the story a bit, which we didn't really like. I think we might have a different version that goes with the original of that one. But I got it because of the Spanish in it. But it was kind of disappointing how the story changed. Because I think it's better not to change those original, like, classic ones. Because it does teach a good lesson. Because not every story has a good ending, right? And you don't want to, well, at least we don't want to teach our kids, like, that everything that happens in the world is all, like, unicorns and rainbows, right? This is Little Quack, or Quackito. This one is bilingual as well. And it's pretty, well, no, there's actually long paragraphs in here. So I'm very thankful that it is bilingual. This one is not. La Familia Activa de Oso. The active bear family, I think, is what it means. But that looks pretty simple. So that's why I got it too, even though it is not bilingual. This is El Pinguino, Pedro. Peter Penguin, right? Or Peter the Penguin. It is a little more complicated because it's longer sentences or paragraphs, but I think a lot of the vocabulary in here I am pretty familiar with, so I could help. And so I think it's beneficial even if you are not familiar with all the vocabulary, because you can learn and then you can help your children learn too. El Patito Feo, this is the ugly duckling. Little more complicated too. This is another story I'm very familiar with. So I think a lot of the vocabulary I do recognize, but I can always, like, pencil it in, like I said. This one's bilingual. The three friends, tres amigos. And that one's very, very simple. Click, clack, moo, vacas, escritoras. This one is not so simple, but I wasn't too fazed by it because I'm like, it's so hard to come by Spanish children's books. Like, you can get them at Barnes & Noble. I haven't been inside Books A Million in a very long time, but they probably have it too. Barnes & Noble, they kind of have a limited selection for one. I'm sure they have more online, but it's very expensive to buy children's books, whether it's Spanish or English. So it was just so nice to go to a used bookstore and see all these options. So I just didn't want to pass it up. Gota, I don't know for sure, but I think that means drop by drop because it's rain. And this one is very simple to figure out. Juan Bobo busca trabajo. So Juan Bobo is looking for work. This one is a little more complicated too. but that's okay. Hoy voy a mugir. I think that means today I'm going to moo, but it's a sheep. Now this one and the next one, me llamo Juana. My name is Jane. I think that's what it is. Juana is Jane. These were the most expensive books in the book haul that I got. $4.50 each, I think she said. Oh, I didn't show you inside. Let's see. Oh my goodness, it's so easy. Okay. I think the other one's just the same. And then we have a couple of classic ones at the end. Danny and the Dinosaur by Sid Hoff. This is on the Mother of Divine Grace kindergarten reading list. Because I'm already looking forward to kindergarten, and I'm always like trying to look for new books we haven't read. So this is just in English, but I was happy to find that. And then Song of the Swallows, I believe, is also on the kindergarten list by Leo Politi. I have never read this one before, so I'm excited to actually read it. And I don't think my younger one would be too interested because it seems like there's a lot of words in it. So I don't know, maybe a few times she would get interested. But that's everything I bought. I think I spent about $41 or $41.50. That's probably more than I would have spent at our local book sale for all these books, but it still was a pretty good deal. So I'm going to count really quick. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 16, 18, 20. Okay, so I got 20 books. So that's about $2 a book if you're assuming every book is the same price, which they weren't. But that's really, really good. And as I said before, those two big Spanish ones were $4.50 each. So those were the most expensive books in the whole thing. I did get one book for free. They also offered me another book that my oldest daughter was looking at. It was this big Disney princess book. It was like really fat. And she said she can just have it. We have so many of those in here. And I asked her if she wanted it. And she's like, no, that's okay. So I was like, well... She said no, we have like so many things in our house. I'm fine with her saying no to that, even though it's a book. So, and it's like Disney princess, like it's Disney. It's nice to watch those classic Disney movies for kids, but I am realizing as an adult, as I'm reading like the original stories that they're based on, that they change things, and some of the things like they left out for like, just to make sure that everything was happy and nothing like truly bad happened. Like in Cinderella, if you're familiar with it, the original story, the stepsisters, they cut off their heels or their toes to fit their shoes into the shoe, their feet into the shoes. And actually Matt Fradd on Pints with Aquinas was just interviewing somebody on his channel about this. I saw the clip and it was like, why are Grimm's fairy tales so twisted? So I recommend you guys watch that. I might link it below if I can find the video. But it was a really good video, and it made sense what they were both saying about the importance of reading fairy tales to your children and not trying to censor them, because it teaches your children about the real world. And the real world isn't always nice. So anyway, I hope you found this video to be helpful. Let me know below what your thoughts are. I hope you have a wonderful week, and may God bless you and your family.